Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to cover this bike right here. This is the Tracer Tacoma. And I got to tell you, it's super impressive when you get an e-bike in the mail and it's really easy and quick to build. And that's the case with this one right here. And it also shows you that you don't have to spend a ton of money to get a good quality bike. So we're going to go over some of the features of today's bike here. Again, this is a full-size 26-inch, 4-inch wide tire e-bike. And in today's video, we're going to go over all the features. We're going to take it out for a spin, and I'll give you my final thoughts at the end of the video. All right, we're out here testing out the Tracer Tacoma. This is an 800-watt fat tire e-bike. Really enjoying riding this on a beautiful day. I got to tell you guys, this thing's got a lot of muscle to crush those hills, but it has one specific feature. It's hidden right here under the crank that completely changes the way it feels to ride. And I didn't know anything about it till I got on this thing. And I got to tell you guys, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about torque, comfort, and why this beast might just be your new daily driver. So let's get the numbers out of the way. First, we're looking at rear hub motor. It pushes 800 watts of power. Now that's paired with a 48 volt, 12.8 amp hour Panasonic lithium battery, which is a solid choice for this price range. Let's talk about speed. It tops out at 22 miles per hour. And depending on how you ride it, you're going to get a pretty good range of anywhere from 30 to 55 miles. As far as charging time, the standard charging time is about 4 to 6 hours. That's off a dead battery. If you start charging it, it's not completely dead. Obviously, you're going to get a little bit faster charge, but the spec sheet doesn't tell you how it feels. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, most fat tires in this price range use what's called a basic cadence sensor. You spin the pedals and the motor waits a second and then boom, it dumps all the power at once. I've got to tell you, it's fun, but it's a bit jerky. I like this type of bike here. This is the Tracer Tacoma that uses the torque plus speed sensor. Super important, guys. This is a game changer. It measures how hard you're actually pushing, not just how fast that you're spinning those pedals. So if you pedal gently, the bike gives you a gentle nudge. If you stomp on the pedals to climb a hill, the 800-watt motor instantly responds with massive power. It kind of gives you the feeling of having bionic legs. It doesn't feel like the bike is riding you. It feels like you're just incredibly strong. It is intuitive, it's safer in tight corners, and frankly, it's just a lot more fun. Now, let's talk about comfort, because this thing is built like a sofa on wheels. You're rolling on 26-inch by 4-inch fat tires. Now, this allows you to run lower tire pressures, effectively turning your air in your tires into an extra suspension. Pair that with the front suspension fork and you smooth out the road chatter significantly, whether it's potholes in the city roads or roots on the trail. This Tacoma floats over them. The geometry is also set up for cruising, so you aren't hunched over like those road cyclists. You're upright. Your visibility is good, and that wide saddle helps with fatigue on those longer 30-plus mile rides. All right, now that I've tested it out a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoyed the riding scenes, I wanted to get some good looks of this out on the road, see what it looks like. So I'm going to go over my final thoughts in today's video. So just to put it into perspective, I'm about 6 feet tall. So if you are a rider that is a taller rider, say over 6 foot, really anything over 5'7", I would say, this would be a great bike for you. But if you're 6'5", 6'6", definitely would get this bike. The reason why is it's already high here. It's perfect height for me right now, but look at this, guys. I mean, this thing goes all the way up to here. That means a 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" rider could ride this as well, which I like. And part of that is because the frame is lifted a little bit higher because of these bigger tires. It's just a higher bike. So getting on and off the bike is normally a challenge on bikes that are bigger like this, but because it has a little bit of a dip down here, I found that it was rather easy to get on this way versus swinging your leg around. Kind of a nice thing to be able to have a big bike like this, but not make it so hard for us that are maybe getting advanced age that have struggle with their hips like I do, and my knees. And so it's kind of hard sometimes to get on these bigger bikes, and they thought about that. So they kind of put this down a little bit. So kudos to them. One thing I also want to mention, it's got this big motor, and I went over all the specs while I was riding, but it's got this big old motor, but it's got this tiny little battery. The battery's actually located right here inside of the frame. So I think if it was me and I was the manufacturer of this bike, I probably would put a larger battery just to extend that range a little bit, because when you start going on the higher levels, the battery is going to go really, really quick. And the battery ticked down a couple notches just on my little ride that I did, and that's because I was testing out the maximum speed on this thing. So anytime that you are pushing the limits on your speed and you're not pedaling, the advertised range that I mentioned in the video is always going to be a lot less than that. You can pretty much cut it in half when you're not pedaling, cut it in half again when you're on the top speed, excuse me, when you set it up to the highest assist level on here and you're just throttling. This does use a thumb throttle versus a half twist throttle also. Now, I will say one thing, this is a plastic piece, so if you do get this bike, just don't flick it down real hard. I mean, plastic breaks, obviously, so just think about that. Be cognizant of that. But if you want to use this as a regular bike as well, it's not the heaviest bike. When you have big bikes like this, the big old fat tires, sometimes they can be over 100 pounds. This actually isn't that heavy. I mean, it's an e-bike, so it's going to be heavy, but some of these e-bikes I can't even lift up with 2 arms. I mean, I got one the other day that was 122 pounds without the battery installed in it. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how big some of these e-bikes can be and how heavy they are. And being a big bike like this, I was surprised that it wasn't that heavy. So it's really good if you're going to be traveling with it, throw it in the back of your vehicle, go as well. But again, it's big, so it wouldn't fit in like an SUV or anything. You definitely want to get a truck or a bike rack for this one. All right, so continue on. If you look at the handlebars here, it's pretty simple. It's not like rocket science on this one. There's not like a bunch of gadgets or accessories. All those things you can get on Amazon. They really, to keep the price down, they really went bare bones, but they did do some upgrades, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute. So you got your up and down, and you got your power button right here on the panel. You also have a display here. This is a black and white display, but it's one of those good displays that actually is unlockable, so you could really increase the speed on here if you really wanted to do that. I have other videos on the channel if you want to check out how to do that. And then you also have your shifter here. This is a Shimano 7-speed shifter, so if you want to use this as a regular bike, since it's not really that heavy, you can do that as well. Now that really comes in handy if you want to get exercise while you're out there, or really if your battery dies. Again, this is a fairly small battery for this big of a bike, so there's a good chance you could get stuck out there and have to pedal. It does have the shifter, and not all of e-bikes do. Some of them don't have any kind of a shifting system. It's really meant to just cruise around with power assist. So it's nice that they did that as well. As far as the grips go, I find that these grips are very comfortable. It has a nice resting pad on it, and hopefully I can get some good close-up shots of that so you can kind of see that. When I talk about the suspension here, I did test that out on the road. As you could tell, I was bouncing pretty good. Now, if I'm standing and I'm bouncing, I didn't notice really too many bumps, but I will tell you, I did notice some with the potholes we have out here on my seat. So again, I would probably upgrade the seat, maybe to a little bit more of a suspension post type seat. One thing I did want to mention also is that there are the screw holes for the back rack. So it is something that you can add if you wanted to be able to haul things. I really would consider a bike like this right now, as you get it, more of a commuter bike. One that you are going to be taking to work. Hopefully not too far, again, because it's a fairly small battery, but it is a nice commuter bike because depending on the terrain you're in, maybe there's some gravel, things like that, you'll be able to grip it really well getting to work. But again, no fenders, so I wouldn't take it mudding or anything crazy like that unless you want to get dirty. But then you got to clean up these beautiful rims. These are nice rims. It's just kind of cool. Usually you don't see them all chromed out like that. A lot of times they come and they're like all black, or yeah, most of them are all black. It's kind of nice to have it chromed out. It looks pretty cool. And again, I went through all the specs while I was out there riding. I just wanted to give you my final thoughts on this. I think this is an incredible value for what you get. Yes, it's missing a couple things I would like to see: rear suspension, rack, fenders. Those are the 3 things I would have liked on this bike. But when you do things like that, sometimes the price gets a little bit higher. But the Tracer Tacoma did a lot of really, really good things. They upgraded the tires, they upgraded the rims, pretty nice lockable suspension. Not all of them can lock out. I do like that you can adjust the handlebars a little bit. So if you're a little taller rider, you can adjust these up a little bit. There's spacers in there right now. I like that they did that. I would probably put a suspension or maybe a more comfortable seat, because on e-bikes you like to cruise around. But overall, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this bike at all. I'm just being particular because if you're looking for a specific type of electric bike, It's good to know all of your options and what you're looking for, what's important to you, because this might be the perfect e-bike for some people. I like to do a lot of off-road travel, and so I love these types of tires, but I would like fenders. So just I don't want to get dirty and stuff like that. One more thing before I let you go. This headlight right here is one of the nicest headlights I have ever seen. It angles down automatically. It's got a little hood on here. It's got a little design on here. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Harley Davidson feel to it. Really like the front headlight. This is a custom front headlight. I've never seen this before. I've tested hundreds and hundreds of bikes on this channel, and that's kind of a nice one. And it's really, really bright headlight as well. I don't know if you can see in the video. It's a little bit hard to see because it's daylight and sunny here, but yeah, the headlight is awesome here, and you know, you just hold the button down, you can turn it on and off right here on the control panel right here. This isn't one of those big smart bikes that have all kinds of crazy apps that you can do all kinds of cool things with it, talk to it, things like that. This is a very affordable, good quality bike. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe if you're new. Any questions, feel free to reach out. You want to get this bike, I'll put links down in the description section of this video, and I'll put it as the top comment. As this bike is awesome and for the price, no doubt about it. I can nitpick any e-bike, and this one, it's pretty impressive. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.